Sorry.
I'd like to have this recording in progress because heaven forbid we do anything in secret. And I'm hitting my got it button. I'd like to call the Armory Park Historic Zone Advisory Board meeting to order here this November 15th, 2022. The roll call will be Maurice,
Aye.
Tom,
Here.
John,
Here.
Glenn,
Present.
me present, and we might have a phone person joining us shortly. Or Patrick, we'll see what happens. Caught the order, did the roll call approval of the minutes for August 30th. Do we remember way back then in 2022? Do I have a motion to approve minutes as presented?
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Glenn. Seconded by
I'll second it.
Maurice. Thank you very much. Roll call, Maurice,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Glenn,
Aye.
no Patrick yet. Me, aye. The minutes are approved. Call to the audience. Did we get anything official in writing?
Did not.
Anybody here want to talk crap while I have the opportunity?
You do it at the end if need be.
Well, we got it both. I can do it all. Okay, we're gonna do a review. HPZ 22-094 808 South Fourth Avenue. This is a construction perimeter fence and a rear yard pergola. It's a full review. It's a contributing resource. Estimated time 30 minutes, give or take whatever kind of thing Stan wants to do for us. Stan, take it away.
Okay, I am the owner of 808 South Fourth Avenue, and I've submitted a plan for exterior improvements on both the front and the side yard with minimal activity on the front and rear yard, with minimal activity going on the side yard as well. But primarily, I have a new wrought iron fence that I'm putting up. I'm taking down an existing chain link fence and putting up a new wrought iron fence per the design that is shown on L1 of the drawings.
Would you like to show us those drawings or sharing? And Jody Brown will now share her screen. Can you see that? Or is that what you want us to see, Stan?
Correct, yes, that's it.
Okay.
And you look on the front yard, which is bordering South Fourth Avenue.
Got it.
I have I'm showing a new brick flatwork coming in from the street, going into the house, the main house, and then going off to the driveway on the north side of the house. And along the north property line, which borders South Fourth Avenue, I'm putting in a new wrought iron fence and gate to replace the existing chain link fence. And that design for the chain link or for the wrought iron fence is shown at the bottom of the sheet, which is being presented right now. Basically, I have a very short stem wall, concrete stem wall, and the fence will be located directly behind that concrete wall that I will maintain. I'll keep that, and I'll do some minor repair on it. It needs some stucco replacement. But basically, the chain link fence that you're seeing is pretty much based on a design that's directly across the street from me, and it's a iron, cold rolled iron, which is the rust in place iron. So it's a non-painted surface at this time that I'm looking at. So that pretty much takes care of the front yard.
Okay.
On the two side yards, I'm putting up screen walls that are like 8 foot high directly off of each window. On the south side, you'll see 3 of them. And all 3 of those rooms that have a screen are bedrooms. And on the north side, I have 2 screens that are off of my dining room and my kitchen. And that is to allow vegetation to go up there and give us some privacy in the house. Going back toward the rear of the property, I am putting in a gate on the north side, which is shown right now, that's being circled with the arrow. And then when you go back a little bit further is where I'm putting a raised pergola. I'm raising the finished grade, so it's flush with the finished floor of the house, which is about 1 foot 6 inches above the existing grade. That area will be surrounded by a 12-inch wide double block wall that will be about seat height. So it's going to be approximately 2.5 to 3 feet high on the backyard. And you'll see that in the, I think it's on the second sheet on L2. You'll see a little bit of that. It's about 4 foot 2 inches above finished grade, and that forms a seat bench around the perimeter of the pergola. And then, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. You're doing
Okay.
great.
And then for the shading of the pergola, I'd like to use a steel structure, which is composed of 4x4 posts, 4x6 beams, and 2x4 steel roof joists, and that's covered with a 14 gauge sheet metal. And that again would be the rust in place metal. And I want to note that that is not physically attached to the house at all. It is a separate structure, and that's the only structure that I really have on this project. There is a screen wall on the north side of my pergola, and that's to give us some privacy from the north neighbors, which are it's pretty visual if you're sitting back there. So I'd like to have a little privacy there. So once we go beyond the pergola a little bit further west, I have more flat work, brick flat work, which ties into a larger section for seating area. And then there'll be another one that goes around to goes to the north, and then bends and goes to the west to an area that I will eventually have a garden area. I'd like to have a small raised garden area where we can do some planting. So essentially that's it. Along, there's going to be some landscaping there too, but I don't show that in here because I guess I wasn't required to submit that. And then if you go to the next sheet, the bottom sheet, which is A1, it gives you a better sense of the construction of that pergola raised area. It's got a foundation plan, a masonry plan, a roof plan, which shows the steel framing, and then I've got a wall section, which tells you how I intend to construct that wall, creating a seat bench and a shaded area for my back area. And I can tell you that in looking at that, there's very little you'll be able to see from South 4th Avenue. You'll be able to see an edge of the pergola, but it will be insignificant in terms of what can be seen from the street.
All right.
So if there are any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Board members, do you have any questions?
I do, Martha. Stan,
Tom.
I walked by your house today, and you're right. You're not going to see much from the street except for the new wrought iron fence replacing the chain link, which is always a nice thing to do. And your plans look great, and if nobody can see them, I don't see where there's a problem there.
Okay, thank you.
I agree. Anybody else on the board?
Yes, I
Yes.
think it's very elegant. Okay, I don't see a flaw into it. I think it's going to bring a lot to the neighborhood, and I approve 100%.
Thank you.
Good job.
What would that be? I fourth that sentiment?
Something I think like that. Yes. Yes. Well, we could mess around here and waste some time and ooh and ah, but I would love to entertain a motion.
I see it. It's all fine for me. I was just wondering why the pergola is a little bit higher than the roof? Is it just because with all the seating and the raised flooring, you want a little bit more airflow through there?
Yeah, well, I wanted to get I didn't want to go under it because it would have been too low.
Okay,
And I got a beam there, a 4x6 beam, that if someone sat along the edge of the south and north wall, if they were a tall person, they could hit their head. So
Okay.
I just thought it would be much better just to rise it slightly above I'm just putting it just above the roof line, but I'm not physically contacting or coming in contact with the roof at all. It's completely separate.
okay. I don't see any problems with any of the plans either. It looks perfectly fine. In fact, I'm kind of surprised we're doing a full review. Jody, is it because there's so many components to it? Because usually most of this stuff doesn't even go for a review except a minor review for a fence.
He's got a Ramada. A
Okay.
Ramada is generally what we do with the full review. It's
Okay.
not just the fence.
Okay, all right. Well, we've done minors for one or the other, but since there's two, okay, I get it. No, I'm fine with it too, as is. Looks good.
Gonna make a motion,
Happy to, it's fine.
please.
Okay, let me get to that page. All right. In the matter of HPZ 22-094, 808 South 4th Avenue, T22 CM 07441 /SD-112-00002. The board recommends approval as presented.
I'll second
second?
the motion.
Maurice is winning on the seconds tonight. All right,
Yeah.
roll call. Maurice,
Aye.
Tom,
I,
John,
Aye.
Glenn,
Aye.
me, I love it when a meeting goes quickly. Thank you, Stan. We all appreciate it when we get plans that are well thought out, presented cleanly, and I have to tell the two people watching, Lynn and Kai, that sometimes we don't get those. Sometimes it's kind of like pulling teeth.
Oh, we should also thank Steve Grady
We
because
can thank Steve Grady because
he was on,
this
he's
stuff
a
to-
landscape architect and he was on this board and he knows how to do plans that are like done.
Yeah, so thank you both very much. The motion has passed, and our next thing is,
Could I ask a question?
sure,
I'm assuming now you send the approval back to the city. And at this time, it's my understanding that the city has approved everything and they were waiting for your approval. Is that generally this procedure that you go through?
usually,
No.
at this point, Jody Thompson is going to jump in because she is the puppet master when it comes to boards in the historic zone.
So just for the record, my last name is Brown, not Thompson.
sorry.
I haven't remarried or anything like
Okay,
that.
just checking, sorry.
That's okay. So right now they're only recommending approval. Your next step is to go to the plans review subcommittee and we will get you scheduled for that meeting. You will do the same thing. You'll just present your plans to the plans review subcommittee. They will also make a recommendation. Both the recommendation of PRS and the Armory Park Historic Zone Advisory Board will go to the Director of Planning and Development Services, and he will issue a decision letter. And then there is a 14-day appeal period, although we don't expect any appeals, but I have to tell you about that. And during that time, your plans are still being ushered through. And once you are past the 14-day appeal period, then you can get your permit issued. If there are any conditions, Armory Park recommended you as presented, but should there be any conditions, then you would have to revise your plans to address those conditions before you could get your permit issued.
Okay, when does a subcommittee meet then?
They meet typically the second and the fourth Thursday of each month. With the holidays, it's a little bit wonky. We have a meeting coming up on Thursday, which you will not be on that agenda. I just want to let you know. But you could potentially be on the agenda for the 8th. If not, I will let you know.
Okay, then once that's done, then I wait for the city to make their final review and comment.
Yes, the boards are all acting, they are all mayoral and council appointed. So they're doing their neighborhood reviews, commission reviews, and providing recommendations, but ultimately it's the director's decision on the project.
Okay, so I'm at least a month away then from probably getting a permit.
Maybe a little bit less, but yes, probably in that range.
You might get your permit by Christmas.
I'm sorry?
You might be able to get permits by Christmas.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
I appreciate your patience.
Sure. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay.
And you're welcome to hang on at the meeting, or you can go enjoy your Tuesday evening.
Martha, ask.
Oh, and also, we would love to have you consider being on this board as a special qualifications person. Which is mean of me to put you on that spot, but please consider.
I would be happy to consider that. The only caveat is that my wife and I are trying to get out of here during the summer month. So there may be 3 months out of the summer that would be gone. I don't know if that would cause a problem or not, but if it doesn't, then it's not an issue.
You should be good to go. We've got other board members that do the same sort of thing.
Right. Right.
That actually gets to be problematic, just so you know.
It does.
If you have a number, yeah, if you have a number of absences in a row, I think it's like 4, the city clerk will bump you off.
Well, I think that this next summer, we do have plans to be gone for probably around 3 months. So that would be 3 meetings that I would miss. So but I think that I could make the 4th one, but at this point, we haven't finalized everything yet, but I'd be happy to consider it. Yes.
Stan, you can always join us by Zoom.
Yeah, I don't see us going back to in-person meetings. Do you, Jody?
Oh, so they're saying that we can, but there's an issue of the recording and how that would happen. So I think we need to figure that out, because the recording methods that we had before weren't really sufficient. And now we download them to YouTube, which I think is kind of a better thing. We also won't be going back to paper plans, so everything will be electronic. And while you guys are like on top of that, because you got Ken, the the computer master, not all of the boards are like that.
Well, we'll play it by ear.
The
Okay.
other piece about missing
Yeah,
4
please.
meetings in a row is that we don't have a meeting necessarily every month.
Right. This year, we haven't met since August. So if we don't have a meeting, you haven't missed a meeting.
Okay.
Good point, Glenn.
Like I said, I'll be happy to sit down and talk to you or whoever to maybe consider that.
Oh, thank you. So don't be shocked if I put your name forth next week. And Steve will help us fill out a resume for you, huh, Stevie?
All right, very good.
Good. All right.
Thank you
Thanks so
very
much.
much.
Thank
Yep.
you so very much.
Thank you. Okay, I'll be leaving then. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
Bye.
All right, design guidelines project. We have not done anything on this, correct, Tom and Glenn?
Hey, Martha, you
Hey,
might want to say it for the record that item 4B.
Oh, okay. Item 4B, HPZ 22-077 at 414 South 3rd Avenue. Pulled their project from this meeting. And so we will not be discussing that today. And that one took a big change from being a major remodel to, it looks like they're slapping paint and throwing a few boards on the building. So I do believe, I don't know what the thing is. They just aren't here this month, maybe next month.
Jody, do you anticipate any plans coming forward for what they're proposing? Because they're just 4 images and an application currently on the website.
I anticipate that is what we will have. They are doing a fair amount of repair. So per their description, it is replacing the decking material and putting down new material and the stairs. But their dollar amount for it per the minor review and the UDC, it's actually limited dollar amount, exceeds that dollar amount that's currently in the UDC,
Okay,
Okay.
which is why they're a full review.
okay.
Let it be noted, Pat O'Brien was able to join our meeting at 6:58. And Pat, you missed all the good stuff. Well, except guidelines. Talk to us about guidelines. Is there anything, Tom, that,
Well, since the last time when I had done nothing, I have since at least talked to Glenn, and he resent me his rewritten version of that. But then I had a note from you, Martha, saying you would like me to start from scratch with the guidelines that exist, along with all the comments from the committee. And you know, while I have looked through that to see what a large job it is, I have not done anything with it, but I am willing to go and plow ahead with that if you still want me to do that. My thought going in is that, you know, originally I thought that with all the city county machinations about what we're going to be going forward, that it would be impossible to write guidelines that were useful to people because we couldn't tell them where to go and what to do until those changes are made. But I think we can certainly redo our design guidelines, and just not get into the weeds on how the procedures work, because those procedures will change. I know it's in abeyance right now, but they need to change. And I'm hoping that what comes out of this is something that, for instance, this thing we just went through, approving it unanimously, wouldn't have to come to us, that the city could take a look at that and say, yeah, it's all within the guidelines, go ahead. But that's beyond our purview. And so I'm willing to work on the things that are in our purview, but not, not on the things that might be changing sometime soon.
kind of as we speak? Thank you. I would appreciate, I think it's important we get guidelines to the city, because, and Jody will update us on the split or the non-split or what's happening.
Right.
John, you were gonna say something?
No, not really. It's just, it's fairly obvious that anything that we would like to include, we may have to rethink because so much has changed in the last 3 years since those 38 pages were done. But all the other boards are looking at 38-page guidelines. So chopping them down to a fold out probably isn't appropriate either. So
Yeah.
I did a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully you all got it. I sent you the city of South Pasadena. It was for their ADU. There were design guidelines for the ADU, but somebody had posted on one of the forums that I'm on, and I hope you all had a chance to look at it. It's really well put together. It's less words and more pictures of do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. And so it was really well done. If you want me to send it to you again, I can find it and send it to you again. But I would suggest, as you're kind of taking another thought or kind of reimagining design guidelines, you might want to kind of look to that. They did pay a firm. God only knows how much money they paid a firm to do that. But it is really well put together, easy to understand, easy to kind of convey what you're thinking to people. And I would say even easy for somebody whose grasp of the English language isn't the best because of the way they put it together. So if you want me to send it again, please let me know, but I would take a look at it. If you
Jody,
haven't.
go ahead and send that again. I saw it, but I didn't look at it, and God knows if it's still in my email.
If you could
I
do that,
looked-
just send it to all of us.
Yeah, I looked at it and I thought it was kind of strange. It's 82 pages that basically say hide it so you can't see it from the street and make sure it doesn't, be too ornate and keep it simple. But there's a history lesson on the buildings that are in that area, but they obviously have very different code and a very different ADU ordinance in that area. So I don't know
It's
how
not,
it applies to larger guidelines. There's a lot more complicated tasks within our guidelines.
yeah, no, it's not about the ADU. It's the way that they put it together and how they kind of used more pictures to explain what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. It's not about the ADU aspect. It's about just having the design lines and the way they put it together. Because you have to readily admit, when you have a lot of just text, people aren't going to read all the text. They're going to potentially go to the section that they want to, or they're going to miss text or whatever. So it's more about just how it's put together. But I'll resend it to everybody.
Yeah, I don't remember receiving it.
I looked through it. It's fascinating. And I basically showed the same door detail for about 20 different styles. It was kind of weird, but lots of pictures. So it's very, for people who have a short attention span, it's very helpful.
That's going to be most of the people you deal with.
Unfortunately, yes.
Good point. Okay. Number 6, the split. Are we doing it? What's happening? Are there any updates, Jody?
So we are still in a holding pattern. We met with a couple weeks ago. We met with SHPO staff and National Park Service staff and county staff to discuss the direction that we were originally given to split, and then the reversal of that direction to say, no, you don't have to split, to kind of get a better understanding of what's going on with the NPS. They are still supposedly working on some kind of text amendment that will address it nationwide. But as I mentioned before, that could take a year, that could take 10 years. We don't know how long that will take. In the meantime, SHPO is putting together a letter that is specific to what's going on with Tucson and Pima County. And they're putting together a memo, I should say, and NPS is expected to respond with it. Once we get that, then hopefully we will start scheduling a meeting, study session with mayor and council to kind of go over the direction that we received. To date, we haven't received that letter. SHPO was supposed to send it off like the week that we talked to them. That didn't happen. So we've been pinging SHPO, and hopefully they're getting it sent out before the end of this month. I will be in Phoenix on Friday, and I will harangue her in person about getting that sent off if she had any.
Thank you. In the meantime, we just are falling forward, doing the same thing.
Just doing the same thing. Although doing the same thing, kinda. I will use this opportunity to show you our new TDC online. If you haven't already seen it, I will share.
Please walk us through it. I kind of saw it and went, oh, Lord.
So this is our new portal. It's called Tucson Development Center Online. And this is how everybody's going to apply for a permit now. You just will register. You can, like right now, I'm not registered in here. I'm just as a guest. But you'll go through and you'll register. And then you can apply for you can register here. And then you can apply for your permit here. You will submit for a permit. just a regular permit like anybody in the city submits for. It will be reviewed by staff and it will get assigned to historic staff. Historic staff will say, oh yeah, this needs historic review. You'll get an email or an update from us saying submit the historic documents. There is no longer a historic application. It is now a checklist of items. I'll show you the checklist. And it's under special districts. So now it's just a checklist of items, and you'll get a link to this to go through and say, these are the items that you need. And it's called out specifically which ones are historic and which ones you don't need to do for special districts. Because there's some for IID that you need to do that you don't need if you're just a historic application, or historic permit. So you'll get that direction. And you'll come back and you'll submit it. Why does that come down? It's so annoying when that comes down. You will submit it via TDC online. Oh, here it is. You'll submit it via TDC online. You'll come back here.
Is that the Pro application form?
No, this is called Tucson Development Center Online. Pro is still around. So if you want to look up older permits, you can still go to Pro and look them up. If you want to look up permits that are more current here, you don't have to be registered. You can just do search and you can do like, oh, actually the better one I could do is 86. No. It helps if you can type. So it'll come up here for historic ones. You actually can go in here. These two permits are linked. And so you should be able to see like what's happening. So even though I'm not registered, I'm just doing this as a guest. You can see like how far it's progressed. Some of the stuff, if you're not the applicant, you won't have access to. But you can see like as it progresses through. You can also see, oh crap. Must be this one. This has the plans associated with it. Bear in mind, we're still working out some glitches from the system. Oh, is my attachments here? Let me do this again. I'll do one that I know. This was the one I sent South 4th.
Okay.
So this was the one we just saw today. And he has like his here. If you go to attachments, you can see all of his attachments associated with that. That's probably really going to only happen with the historic projects and maybe DBR and IID projects and stuff like that. But you will be able to go in here and anybody can look at the plans because they'll be in there. But you can also see how far along he is. When we'll be putting in here when the meetings are scheduled for this. But this is the new process. We also are doing away with the HPZ numbers. And our permit numbers will now they'll have a different look. So SD is special districts. There's other TP, I think Tucson permit or something like that. They have different things. So HPZ numbers will go away. We're kind of fading away from those. We may have some older projects that you might see that come through that will have the HPZ number, but as we move along, the new ones won't have the HPZ number.
Okay. I noticed it'll have the date of our meeting. Would it have things like our legal action report also available?
So once we get minutes and stuff like that, we as staff will go in and we will in our system, the back of house, have like, if it was recommended for approval and any conditions that were associated. So we're probably not going to do your full minutes, but we'll do like the motion that was associated with it.
Okay.
There is a, what's it called? Text limit, character limit to some extent.
Okay.
Yeah, so you might want to just go in to kind of look and see what you can find and around with this. But like I said, we also are still working some glitches, and we had a glitch. The one major glitch, and the thing that we will probably be bumping back for is when Stan submitted, he submitted the plans as one PDF, and then he submitted each photo as its own separate PDF. Projects should now be submitted as one submittal. It comes in as one PDF. And so our directions are going to push for that, because it gets complicated when we're trying to upload the documents into the system, and then we're trying to link these meetings, which is why we had a glitch with Stan's.
Okay. All righty.
And you're going to have a problem as far as the size of the data that you're going to put on your PDF?
I'm sorry, Maurice, can you ask that question again?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a PDF, you know, is, don't you think there's going to be some kind of issues about the amount of data that you're going to have to put into one PDF?
Well, I mean, you can typically reduce, sometimes you can reduce the sizes of the PDF, or you can reduce the sizes of your photos. So PDFs shouldn't be that big. But technically on our website, when I am putting these documents on there, it's not as a PDF, it's coming as OnBase. So when I'm showing you this stuff now, it's coming from OnBase. It's not a PDF like we had before. So previously, when I was putting documents on the Armory Park website for you guys to review, the PDFs, they were individual. It was kind of like getting messy and stuff like that. But this way it comes from OnBase, because in addition to like EnterGov and TDC Online, and not that it affects you guys, but they also hit us with Workday, which is a thing that we're doing inside. They're also going to be updating our website pretty soon. And they want to reduce the number of PDFs on our website to reduce size and stuff like that. So
This is really going to end up putting an onus on the people applying for these things to have some computer skills, is what I'm hearing.
It kind of sounds like
Yes.
everybody's going to have a new computer and Google Chrome to be able to get a permit for anything.
Well,
No, I'm not. You're not limited. I use Google Chrome, but you're not limited to Google Chrome. It should work. TDC Online should work in other aspects. We did for a while have kiosk computers down at the Permit Development Center. People could use them, but they are not there currently. Frankly, I'm pushing to have those back so that citizens who don't have a computer could come back in and use those. There's also computers at the public library that you're able to use and download information to this. But I have to tell you, the city was really paper heavy, and it wasn't even as bad. Like when I was in San Diego, it was ridiculous the amount of paper that was submitted for plans. And then you have multiple revisions for plans coming through. So a lot of cities are actually moving this direction to make it all electronic. And it's just the state of business today.
Thank you.
Will we eventually have to register to be able to access any of the files to do meetings?
No, so right now, the stuff that I was showing you online for like 808 to 808 South 4th Avenue, I was not registered. I'm just a guest. I hadn't logged into TDC Online. And the files that we have on our website that I upload on the website for you for each meeting, those will always, as far as I know, those will always be like that. So you don't have to register because they're public meetings. So they're up for anybody. If you want to submit for a permit, that's a different story, and you will have to register to submit for a permit.
But the principle for registering on the website is to be able to modify a record. Okay, all we're doing, okay, is just looking at records. To look at records, especially public records, you're not going to see, any need for registering or for logging. Okay, it's just basic principle of computer security. As far as Google Chrome, John, you're gonna have to get a new computer one of these days. This is 2022. Technology has changed so much. Especially since the COVID. It's whatever you want to do these days, it's computers. There's no way around it.
I have these things. I don't really like that it's getting to a point that you have to basically be rich to do business with the city of Tucson. It's just a comment.
Okay,
Yeah.
and with that comment, we're going to move on to the call of the board. Tom, you got anything cooking besides now that you have a boatload of work to do?
Nope, got nothing cooking. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. John?
Boatload of meetings coming up. Tomorrow is the Transportation Committee at noon for the Historic Commission, and they're talking about plans for demolitions and historic demolitions, both for private and public property. Then in the evening is the Planning Commission hearing for the IID update. I plan on attending. I've got my comments in to Dan Bursuck, but it should be interesting, whatever they recommend mayor and council for the following month. And concurrently, they are also holding the only open house in our area for the Tucson Norte del Sur public meeting at the same time as the Planning Commission. So again, departments aren't talking.
Norte del Sur that's the transportation.
Yeah,
the
it's at
airport?
Armory Center from 5 to 7.
Okay, but
Planning
the
Commission
project is the transportation from Tucson Mall to the airport?
Yes.
Okay,
So all of those tomorrow. And then on the 17th is the redistricting commission. They have totally thrown out number 3. So all of the IID and all of us and everybody else will not be in Ward 1 as a proposal. It's a much more limited thing they're going for. I think there's a PRS meeting on the 17th also at 9 a.m. Not sure what they're having later. And then on the 18th, if you're interested, there's a design review board meeting where they're going to show off the new giant tower housing tower that's proposed to go right next to the freeway on Congress, and the update for the Grant Road incentive district, just for interest. Next week, we have a special meeting for elections that's concurrent with the APNA annual meeting on the 22nd at 6:30. So we'll be getting an agenda, so hopefully all of us can show up. And I see there's a number of people that may want to join us, so I hope they all speak tonight too. I think that's it for meetings for me. Been rather
Okay.
busy already this month.
that's a boatload of stuff. Maurice, you got anything?
Yes. I'm going to be a guest speaker at the IID meeting. I don't have the exact date in front of me, but it's a 2-part meeting. One has to do with the approval of cannabis options, within the city, and the other half has to do with the IID's issues. So I was invited as a guest speaker, so I'm going to put in my 2 cents.
That's tomorrow
that's
night
around-
at 6 o'clock.
It's tomorrow night. Okay, because I'm still waiting for a Zoom invitation. I guess I'm probably going to get. Did you get yours or not yet?
You have to go to the website on the same page that has our meetings, also has the Planning Commission, and you have to click onto the link.
Got you. Because I know I got an email back from them saying that I'm definitely on the list of speakers. So Looking forward to it. You say it's at 6 o'clock?
Yes, it's at 6 o'clock tomorrow night.
Excellent. So I will be there. Okay. And so that's one thing. Okay. The next thing is, no, we're talking about that project on 3rd Avenue just now, the one that got postponed.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know if you guys, look at Zillow. Okay. Very often, but, by obligation, I look at it almost every day, or I get messages from them every day. And what I see happening, okay, is that every other week or two, okay, building values go down 1.2%, 0.5%, 0.6%. In other words, we're going in a down spiral over here. So what's happening is that developers and investors don't like to invest money, into decreasing value properties, and I think that's what we're going to be encountering, for the next at least 6 months, until the inflation is, under control. Okay, the Fed is still increasing interest rates. Okay, we're probably going to get hit with another 75 basis points, within a couple of weeks, I would imagine. Okay, and it's fine. Okay, it reduces inflation, which is good, but at the same time, it makes mortgages very expensive, more expensive, and until things stabilize, people are not going to be really investing, too much money into, in the new construction or major construction that would require a review from us. So I think that's what we should be expecting in the following months. There's just not going to be too much happening on our side, again, because of those conditions. So,
Okay.
that's my remarks.
Okay, thank you. Glenn,
Nothing.
Patrick,
Well, hi. I don't have anything else to bring up this evening.
yeah, well,
We're
you
gonna
never
get some
get,
new equipment before the next meeting, huh?
yeah, right. Well, and the way the city's changing, we all need that.
Martha,
Ken is
that-
our tech person. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Don't have anything to offer though.
Okay, and our illustrious guest, oh, John Burr has his hand up. It's official. He found the thing. What do you got, John?
Sorry about that. I just wanted to say about the IID, there's a proposal for affordable housing, which I think is really great. But what we should understand is there is not going to be any boundary change in our area in this update that's being reviewed tomorrow. And the height waiver and density waiver that they're talking about for people who build affordable housing will not apply in HPZ zones, per Dan
Okay.
Bursuck. Also, the All Souls or All Saints project is coming back. That meeting is on Monday, the 28th, next week. It's a Zoom meeting at 6 o'clock. They had originally scheduled one for the 7th, but it's coming back. They are planning on showing revisions for all 11 properties or parcels, and a parking plan where they'd like to basically do on-street meter exempt parking for 82 spaces, including a bunch of areas that they are not adjacent to their own properties, which Donovan Durbin was a little bit surprised at. So it should be an interesting meeting. I'll be sending out the link tomorrow morning on that. That was it.
Will
All right.
be a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right. And now it's a call to the audience. Ty, Lynn, anybody? You want to, what do you think?
Thank you
Introduce
for
yourself, please.
allowing me to join you tonight. And I'm Lynn Sutherland. I live on South 3rd. We've been here about 2 years. And you might see my cats and dog in the Zoom meeting. I apologize for that. They're very nosy.
That's good.
But I don't know much about historic zoning and construction. I do have the interest and I have the time And I do have the passion for this. I'd love to learn more about it. And if it is a slower period due to financial things going on in the country, it might be a good time for me to learn a little bit more so I can be on my feet by the time it gets busier. So I would love to have my name put forward for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And it is a lot of us do a lot of on-the-job training. We do get training from the city. Sometimes it's not as consistent, but tonight we learned about the new system. So thank you, Kai.
Yeah,
I'm saying, am I totally
yes,
messing it
you
up?
are pronouncing it correctly. I'll say hello. Thank you for letting me join. I also moved to Tucson a couple of years ago, and I live on South 4th between 14th and 15th. And I actually work in construction and commercial building design for a tech company in San Francisco. So some of this is familiar, but in a really different context. So I look forward to learning more about the work.
Ooh, cool, interesting. So you have a background that might be considered special qualifications.
I'm not sure what that means, but maybe.
Well, we try to have somebody that knows how houses are built, things that are put together, history. Pat is one of our special qualifications. He worked with the national parks, correct?
Yeah, for 30 years.
30 years. So he's got some ideas of what goes on with that. Jody, you can probably better explain some of the things that we look for when looking for special qualifications people on our boards.
Well, you kind of explained it really well, Martha. The special qualifications are vetted through me, the historic preservation officer, the chair of the historic Tucson Pima County Historic Commission, and the director of PDSD. But generally, it's, as Martha said, they are people who have an idea, like an architect or an architectural historian, archaeologist, generally historian. They're people who have knowledge of Tucson or building practices that kind of help them with this kind of review process or what's going on. I would say generally, if you're going for like the historian thing, it's a history of the Southwest or a history of Tucson or Arizona that we would be looking for, not so much China, which is nice and interesting, but that doesn't necessarily help you in how you would review materials or buildings or designs or anything like that related to Tucson. And same with like an architect, ideally, you have kind of that background. You have some, maybe you're not a registered architect, but you went to architectural school, you just kind of decided to go a different path and have an understanding of how buildings are constructed and stuff like that, then that can definitely be something that's a special qualification. But really kind of that's the realm we're looking for. And then it's vetted through my office along with the chair of the commission.
Thank you. Okay, any future agenda items there, Madam Officer?
Yes.
Tipo.
Chippo, City
Chippo.
Historic Preservation.
Oh, okay.
Tippo is the tribal,
Oh.
Chippo is the state, and Chippo with the C is the city. Anyways, yeah, more stuff than you needed. So the 414 South 3rd, I think it was, that will be coming to you. I assume you will be able to have a quorum because your next meeting is on the 20th.
22nd.
Is on the 20th.
This election one?
No, your regularly scheduled meeting is December 20th. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, okay.
Your election one, you don't typically review projects, you just do your election, correct?
Right, correct. Get in, get out.
It's usually about 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's the really short meeting. I pop
Maybe.
in and pop out. Yeah, but hopefully you'll be able to get a quorum for December 20th. So
Okay.
that's your next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay,
But it's,
sounds good.
yeah,
I just wanted to ask John a question. John, you mentioned before that IID, affordable housing standards and heights are not considered in HPZs?
Way back when the IID was created, I was instrumental in getting mayor and council to say that HPZ trumps all other zoning. So for instance, in Armory Park, our height cap is at 48 feet. And so anyone who wanted to use the IID in the historic district would be limited to 48 feet, even if they offered affordable housing. They wouldn't be able to go up to 60 feet, whereas it makes more sense in places like North Stone and other areas of the IID to be along more major transportation corridors, but it does not apply in HPZs.
Okay.
Same with the density cap. So the affordable housing component is added mainly for areas that the IID really hasn't hit yet. And, you know, I wish it was more than 15% too, but apparently that's the number that they all settled on. You may want to give Dan Bursick a call tomorrow before the meeting. He's usually around and can be kind of helpful in explaining some things, but I'm actually pretty okay with most of it. I'm a little leery about the getting rid of the sunset date for it, because it could imply under Prop 207 that since that's the only way to develop it is a by right entitlement rather than an optional zoning. But if there's a structure to review it every few years, that should work as well. It's complicated, but it's fairly simple update to the IID.
I'm just curious, but
we could talk later this evening if you want to chat.
Yeah, why don't you guys give each other a call? I actually have another meeting I'm supposed to go to. So that being said, I would like to adjourn the Armory Park Historic Zone Advisory meeting at 7:35.
One quickie,
yes,
sorry.
of course, John. It's always one quick.
Any minor reviews?
Yeah. I did 3 of them. No, we did 3 of them. Yeah, in person.
Great.
And,
could you send me those
date.
addresses?
It was solar, and it was a roof.
Great. Could you just send me those addresses when you have a minute?
I will send you those addresses. We approved them all, and we found that it was kind of fun. Michael Taku was in an exceptionally good mood.
Oh,
He
good.
was happy to be back in the land of let's walk around the neighborhood and look at projects.
And a quick question for Jody. Jody, I noticed that PRS said that 327 East 13th as a zoning violation would be coming to them. Will it also be coming to us since it's in our district?
that's a good question. Which one is it? Hold on.
327. It's a infill house. It's non-contributing, but they built a new wall with a whole bunch of weird gates and other things that are like not historically compatible. So it's in the pipeline. Public record as being a zoning violation. It was discussed on 1027 at PRS and it's in their minutes, but Michael said it would be coming to them, but I assume it will be coming to us as well.
Oh, I think that was, yeah, it will come to you.
Okay.
So we may see that in December as well. All right, that's all.
Yeah, it's still being worked on.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. It's fine to adjourn.
Agenda, whatever, call, can we end it now? Can we? All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
7:37. Night all. Thanks for coming.
Night, everybody.
Bye-bye all.
Bye, everybody.
See you next week.
You got it.